went to bleeding races, 'twas on the 9th of June, 1862 on a summer's afternoon. I took the bus to Banbury's and she was heavy laden. Away we went along Collingwood Street, that's on the road to bleeding.
You're watching TOON Army TV. Welcome to the channel. This is the Newcastle United versus Tottenham Hotspur match preview for the game kicking off this Sunday afternoon at St James's Park on Easter Sunday, a 2:05 kickoff. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Easter eggs getting thrown at the TV, or because we're not at the stadium, it could have been off Steve Bruce's head. A few Easter eggs getting cracked off Steve Bruce's head. I'll pay to see that happen. But anyway, if you haven't seen me channel before, please subscribe. Hit that like button, put your comments down below, let me know your predicted starting 11s and your score predictions for the game on Sunday afternoon. I look forward to reading all of your comments and I will reply to each and every one of them when I get the chance. But on with the game, it's going to be a difficult one. Spurs are a good side. We are not in good form. Steve Bruce has been given the vote of confidence. Wow, wow, wow. 2 wins in 20 games and he gets the vote of confidence. Just typical of our board, isn't it? It really is. To give Steve Bruce, any sort of confidence. He's the worst manager in the Premier League, the worst stats. I said it after the Brighton game. He's out of his depth and he shouldn't be a manager. He's long finished in the game, I've said this. And the longer we keep him, the quicker we're going to get relegated. Our season starts now, but I say that with this manager, there's no confidence. We've got 9 games to save our season, 27 points to pick up. We need to try and win 3 or 4 games out of 9. We're not capable of winning 1 game, let alone 3 or 4. We're not capable of picking up 3 points. So I'm struggling to see where the next win's coming from. If you look at our 9 games, starting off with Tottenham on Sunday, this game is going to be a hammering. If we play like we did against Brighton in our last game before the international break, we lost 3-0, then it's going to be a long afternoon. Because we should have lost 6 or 7 to Brighton. Let's be honest. The players threw in the towel. That taught me a lot about this squad. It taught me a lot about the manager. That's not going to keep winning the Premier League. It's as simple as that. And I'm calling him that because he's an awful manager. He really is. He talks so much crap. And this is what we've got to live with. We've got a spineless owner, Mike Ashley and Lee Charney, who don't give 2 flying fucks what's going to happen at the end of the season. And that's why we're going to go down. Prove us wrong. I hope the players prove us wrong. But the attitude right now is stinking. We've got players injured and players who won games aren't getting them because the manager seems to persist with crap players like Jeff Hendrick who do nothing for 90 minutes. He's a passenger. And we're playing up against a Spurs side who have so much quality with Harry Kane, Son. They've got Vinicius who they signed on loan from Benfica. They've got Gareth Bale, Lucas. I'm worried for us. Because if we can't defend well against a Brighton side who can barely score goals and we make them look like prime Barcelona, then we're going to make Tottenham Hotspur look like Manchester City on Sunday. They really will score 6, 7, 8, 9 past us the way we're playing. And that's not being over the top. We are so poor to watch. There's no real structure about our side. And that's why I am not confident for the game on Sunday. I'd be lying if I said I was. I've been positive all season to say that we can get points, we can stay in this league. But we don't look like staying in this league. The players do not want to play for the manager. Steve Bruce has lost the dressing room. He's lost the supporters. He's lucky that we're not here because if we were in the stadium, he would have long gone. Long, long gone. Because the pressure would have told. And that's why he can continue to slag us off in the media because we're not there. He's very, very lucky. I will say that for one. I just worry how Steve Bruce sets it up on Sunday. It'll be the talk of 5 at the back. I hope not. I don't want to see it. 4-3-3, ditch it. It's not working. Why are you not going 4-2-3-1? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is why I find it so hard to watch us because we don't have anything about it. We really don't. And Steve Bruce goes on like, oh, well, I'm trying to get it right, this, that, and the other. Bollocks. We're doing nothing. Nothing. I'm resigned to our fate of the championship. We've got players who don't even want to be here. That's fine because you can go at the end of the season. I'd get rid of a lot of them if it means we can start again. I mentioned this on Monday or Tuesday when I last done the video for the Dwight Gale contract, allegedly. I wouldn't care if any of the players left. They've done nothing to warrant a new contract. Yeah, some of them will stay on because they've been given contracts, but they're going to have to step up. But for some of them who don't have contracts, then I'm not bothered whether you sign them or not, because you're easily replaceable. The manager, I want to see him gone as well. I want to see him gone now. I said that we needed to replace Steve Bruce over the international break. Didn't happen. Where's Chris Wilder? He's out of a job. Bring him in. At least he'd get a tune out of the players. Steve Bruce, you won't get a tune out of any of them. Spurs, for me, will be too good for us. I mean, Jose Mourinho got his first win at St James's Park last season as a manager, and he's going to get the same again. I can see it. I can see it. I really can. The last time we played Spurs this season was a 1-1 draw at the White Hart Lane Stadium. We went 1-0 down, and then Spurs didn't bury us. They were fully in control of the game. Could have been 2, 3, 4, 5 up that afternoon. But if you don't, take your chances, then there will be a chance for us, and we got that penalty. It was controversial. Steve Bruce being the luckiest man in London that we got awarded that penalty. I took it at the time because I thought, we had a good start of the season. We beat like West Ham, and we could build on that. And yeah, okay, we've got a 1-1 draw, but we never really built on that start of the season. We've had injuries, Steve Bruce playing players out of position, 5 at the back, losing to Brentford's B team. You should have been replaced there and then. Sheffield United, we lost 1-0 when they hadn't won a game all season. Just typical us, just the way we play. And drawing 0-0 against West Brom and this, that and the other. It's just been a bollocks season, man. Something that you would expect, under Steve Bruce, with his management. He's not a good manager. Everyone knows that. And it's only us as a fan base that are suffering as a result. We've got, a big injury going into the game, and that is Isaac Hayden. He's going to be missing for the rest of the season. He collided with a Brighton player, and as a result, he got stretchered off, and we're going to miss him because he organises the back four, he organises the midfield, he tries to get forward, to try and play that ball out wide or into the number 10. We're not going to see that, and he's going to be, a real miss. His presence, he's a good player. Yes, he's been off in recent games, but 9 times out of 10 he does put in, good, honest performances. ASM and Callum Wilson have trained over the international break, but are they going to be available for the game on Sunday? Well, we'll wait and see. Steve Bruce will be doing his press conference on Friday morning. I am recording this on Thursday. Dubravka could be missing for this game as well after he missed his 2 international matches for his country due to a stomach issue. I hope he's okay. I will start him on Sunday because it could just be a precaution. But Steve Bruce is going to have to get this lineup correct. Otherwise, it's going to be another long afternoon. I'm in no mood now for trying to be positive, because every time I try and pick up a game, it's always a complete opposite. The players need to prove us wrong. They need to go out there and give the performance, because if we just sit back the whole game, Tottenham will just pick you off and they'll score with their quality. And yes, Tottenham, you don't know what you're going to get with them. 1 minute they're okay, they're playing a good game, they'll win. Then another times they'll not be so good, they'll give you a chance. Tottenham blow hot and cold, and that's where we need to try and take advantage. This season they haven't had the best of seasons, let's be honest. They had a good start and then they tailed off. They've been knocked out of the Europa League, and they have been steady in the Premier League. They're still trying to submit a place for next season in Europe. Are they going to get Champions League? Probably not. Most likely Europa or that Europa Conference, and that's still not finalised. So they know that it's all to play for on Sunday. They'll be expecting the 3 points, but we need to try and stop their counter attacks. But also we just need to play our own game. I don't want to see the whole defensive game from us. I know we're capable of so much more, but also the players need to take collective responsibility, because the players haven't been good enough this season, haven't stepped up when called upon. At least if you're not going to play for Steve Bruce, play for the badge. That's what we expect. We haven't seen that, but you've got 9 games to try and sort it out. Fulham, for me, they might be behind us, they might be in the relegation zone, but they have the advantage in the relegation running. Scott Parker, decent manager there at Fulham. He's geeing their players up. The players are playing for him. They might make mistakes, but they learn from it. We don't. We seem to make the same mistakes week in, week out, the same old problems, and that needs to be rectified. We need to try and blow away the whole negativity of what's gone before. It's draw a line under it. It's 9 games. Our season starts now, because if we don't get the required wins that we need, yes, it's going to be a tough running. We all understand that. We've got to play some of the top 6. We've even got to play West Ham, who are on good form in this running. Then we just need to try and get wins, because anything less than, we're not going to stay in this league. It's as simple as that. Don't get me wrong, I'm resigned if we get relegated to the Championship. It's been on the wall all season, but it's up to the players now to really stand up and be counted and show that they are capable of digging us out of a very serious situation. So I'm going to go with my predicted starting 11 for the game on Sunday, and it's going to be a 4-2-3-1. As mentioned, ditch the 4-3-3, ditch the 5 at the back, and let's go for it. If Steve Bruce went with this formation all season, we'd pick up more points than we're dropping. And he did this last season where he played 4-2-3-1. It worked, and why he changed it, I'll never know. But if we play 4-2-3-1, you've got your back four, you've got your 2 CDMs that'll protect your back four, and then you've got your number 10 who will, work around the pitch as long as the service is correct. You've got your 2 wingers who will also try and cut in and make something happen. And then you've got your striker, your focal point. But for me, Steve Bruce needs to get it right now. It's now or never, because any mistakes, then we're going to get punished. So in goal, I'm going to go with Martin Dubravka. I hope he's okay. He did pick up, that stomach bug over the course of the international break. He's been solid for us ever since he's come back. Was he at fault for the 3 goals against Brighton? I feel like it would be a bit harsh to say so. The ball flashed before his very eyes. He couldn't do much. He wasn't helped by the defence. But as long as he's keeping clean sheets, as long as the game is still at 0-0, then we've always got a chance with him in there. I'm more confident with Dubravka than I am with Carl Darlow. At left back, I'm going to go with Jamal Lewis. I'm going to bring him back in. We played Paul Dummett against Brighton. It's a bit too conservative for me. Yes, Jamal Lewis has made mistakes, but who hasn't this season? We need to try and get him further up the pitch. That's what he does. He's got pace. He just needs to work on his final ball, getting balls into the box as much as possible. If you could do that, then we can see the best of Jamal Lewis. We know as a fan base that he's a good player. He just needs that confidence. He needs to play regularly. Yes, he's had a few games where he's been dropped, and hopefully he's learned from that and he's going to come back, a better player. At right back, I'm going to go with Javier Manquillo. Yes, he's been coming out and saying there's been words after the Brighton game, but I want to see, a performance from him, because he was poor against Brighton. He was too obvious. He was too static. He was getting caught out, and he was at fault, for a couple of the goals, just not tracking back and making the tackles, getting spun too easily. And we know with Javier Manquillo that he can get forward, he can put balls into the box, and that's why he got his new contract. At the start of last season, he just needs to really up his game, and if you could do that and get back to the Javier Manquillo of old, then we've got a real chance of keeping more clean sheets. The 2 centre backs. First up, I'm going to go with captain Jamal Lascelles. He's been good in recent weeks, I will give him that. He's starting to pick up a bit of form. He's had a few injuries, we know that. He's picked up 2 goals in our last 2 home games. Can he grab a third against Tottenham? Can it be the winning goal rather than an equaliser? I'd love to see it, but we need to see more from the captain, just leading by example, putting in the tackles and trying to get forward, barking out instructions, and it's going to be crucial for the last 9 games of the season. Alongside him, I'm going to go with Kieran Clark. I was tempted to drop him, but for me, he needs to up his game. He's been poor in recent weeks. Yes, I can't just put him at fault for the goal that he conceded against Aston Villa. It was an own goal, it happens. But against Brighton, I thought he was just too obvious. Very similar to Manquillo, just not really putting in the challenges, and he was very naive at times. Just didn't really lead by example. The Kieran Clark that we've seen all season, that got given the new contract. Since then, he's not really stepped up, and he needs to do a lot more. I need to start being critical of these players, because we've got a big run in now, and we need to start picking up results, and that's the only way that players are going to improve, by being critical. The 2 CDMs. First up, I'm going to go with Sean Longstaff rather than Jonjo Shelvey. He's been poor. We've seen Sean against Brighton for a little bit, but we need to see him for a full 90 minutes. I feel like he's better than Jeff Hendrick. He needs the full 90 minutes. He's got the Premier League experience. Yes, he's not had the greatest of seasons, not under Steve Bruce anyway, but we know what he's capable of doing. If you watched the game against Bournemouth last season, that's what he brings to the table, the quality. He'll get you forward, and he knows what it means to play for the black and white shirt, and we need to see the old Sean Longstaff. I know he's a good player, there's something in there, but he needs to be given that confidence from the manager, and we need to start changing things around now rather than playing the same old players. Alongside him, I'm going to go with Joe Willock. I'm going to drop him back from the number 10 role to the CDM role. We haven't got him for much longer, so we need to make sure that we're using his energy to our advantage. He will get around the pitch. He will protect the back four. He's very similar to Isaac Hayden. He's an honest player. Yes, he's been a bit anonymous at times, but with him playing that CDM alongside Sean, it could be something different. It might work. It's tried and tested, but it's important that he gets the ball into the number 10 as much as possible. And talking of the number 10, I'm going to go with Miguel Almiron. There's talk that he could be going to Atletico Madrid. He's unsettled. He wants to play for a team that fights. Well, if you want to play for a team that fights, I want to see a good performance from you between now and the rest of the season, because you've been poor. You need to step up. You've not been the same Miguel Almiron that we've seen last season. You've got to really improve your game. Yes, Steve Bruce is part of the reason why you haven't improved. You've been getting played out of position. But in that number 10 role, we know what you're capable of, and we need to see Miggy, getting around the pitch, barking out instructions to the wingers to try and, try and stay in tune, because we're going to need that. We're going to need Miggy's quality. We know he can score goals, but the service has got to be correct. And if he wants that big move at the end of the season, then he's got to step up. Otherwise, he's got no chance of a move anywhere. On the left-hand side, I'm going to go with Ryan Fraser. He scored for Scotland on international duty, so there's a bit of confidence there. He's not been too bad in recent games. He's a sort of player who was honest. He had that shot which hit the post against Brighton. Could have been 1-1, could have been a different game. We know he's got pace, we know he's got quality, but he just hasn't showed it a lot this season. He's been injury prone, but now that he's back and he's playing regular games, we know that he's trying, but we need to see it on a regular basis. We need to see him be a bit more braver when it comes to the final third, and if he can't take it on himself, just try and find others, in the box. We need to be in that box as much as possible, because we're not seeing enough of it. But for Ryan Fraser, for me, I feel like he was that man of the match against Brighton. He could walk off with his head held high. On the right-hand side, I'm going to go with Jacob Murphy. He should have started against Brighton. I don't know why he didn't, because he was the better player against Aston Villa for that short period of time that he was on. He hit the crossbar. He was very unlucky, but he did set up the equalising goal for Jamal Lascelles to get that deserved 1-1 draw against Aston Villa. I don't know what he did to not play against Brighton, with that sort of energy that he brings. He likes to cut in. If he doesn't score, then he's always making things happen. And if we don't see Jacob Murphy between now and the rest of the season, then I can just sense that he's leaving, because his contract runs out at the end of the season. Of course, ASM is training, but I'm more for ASM coming on in the second half. As for up front, I'm going to go with Dwight Gale, but Dwight Gale needs to really up his game. There's talk that he could be getting a 3-year contract. Well, if you want that 3-year contract, if you want to turn heads, if it's allegedly so, then please step up. Please show what you're capable of doing. The Dwight Gale that was signed, in the Championship under Rafa Benitez, because you simply haven't been good enough. Yes, you've been getting played out of position, but we know that you've got pace. We know that you can score goals if the service is correct. If you actually up your game, if you don't just go into your shell and stroll around like a passenger, because we need to see you between now and the rest of the season. And without your goals, then we're going to struggle, because Joe Linton's not done enough. He's a waste of space. Andy Carroll, for me, wouldn't start games in my opinion. He's more of an impact sub. Bring him on in the second half. Dwight Gale is the next best thing to Callum Wilson in terms of what he can bring to the table. If he wants to earn that contract, he needs to prove that he can score goals, that he can be the Dwight Gale of old between now and the rest of the season. Otherwise, I don't want to know. But if Callum Wilson is available, then start him. Otherwise, you bring him off the bench in the second half. We'll see where the game's at. But that is my starting 11 for the game on Sunday afternoon. Let me know yours down below in the comment section with your predicted starting 11s. In terms of a score prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-0 Spurs win. I can't put past Spurs, unfortunately. They've got too much quality. I'd love to get the 3 points at home. The players need to prove us wrong that they're capable, of stepping up, but I haven't seen it. I mean, if we can't beat Brighton, if we can't beat West Brom, if we can't beat Sheffield United, what makes you think we're going to beat Tottenham Hotspur? And let's be honest, they'll be looking for revenge after what happened in their recent game against us at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They've also beaten Aston Villa. So they've picked up some form, whereas we are going down, and the players need to really go for it. If they don't go for it, then it's going to be a long afternoon. I do expect a hammering, but I'll be nice and say 2-0. I hope we can score a goal. I hope the players can prove us wrong come Sunday afternoon when I do the review, but I feel like I'm going to come back and it's going to be the same old problems. But yes, that's my score prediction. Apologies if it's negative, but where else can I be positive? There is no positivity right now. Steve Bruce and the lads need to prove her wrong on Sunday. So that's the end of the match preview. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on your notification bell so you never miss a video from myself. As mentioned below, let us know your predicted start 11s. Let me know your score predictions. Follow me on social media, TOON TV, Instagram and Twitter. And I'll see you all in the next one. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your bank holiday. I'll speak to you soon. How are the lads?